Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, I'm going to talk about um, common mistakes that I think people make in their professional lives when it comes to connecting with prospects and customers. And I see this all the time. So every time I step outside my house and I know I'm going to go to a presentation, it doesn't necessarily have to be a sales presentation, but I always notice about maybe 95% of the time that people act like you should care because of the speaker's accomplishments. Like, oh, I've been doing this for 5 to 10 years, and you know, look at what I did, and then they kind of make it seem like you're obligated to work with them because of their accomplishments. Now, here's the thing: people in the beginning may act like they care about your accomplishments, right? It's like going into a job interview and then the person who's interviewing says, "Oh, you went to Harvard. That's really impressive," right? But you'll notice when you actually start the job, a lot of people are like, "Well, nobody really cared where I got my degree from." You ever notice that? Like, you think people care, and then once you start to work that job, it's like, wait a minute, nobody really cared. Right? Like, no, absolutely. Like when I do the actual job itself, absolutely nobody cared that I went to Harvard. Okay. So, and that's really important to know while we're dealing with prospects, customers, especially if you're a business owner, self employed person. Nobody cares about really your accomplishments. They only care that you can help them. And there's a lot of things that people are not really conscious of. Like they don't really know what they want, but once they like you talk to them the right way, they're like, yeah, yeah, like I know I want to work with this person. And I myself have never been in a situation where I was thinking, yeah, I definitely want to work with this guy or this gal because they're so much more knowledgeable than me, right? I actually the main reason that I want to work with anybody is because they make me feel like they're going to take care of me and that I'm protected, right? Like that's the main thing, especially if I'm hiring someone else. You know, if someone hires me to do the job, it's my goal to make my client feel like they're going to be taken care of. And if I'm paying someone else money, I want them to make me feel the same way. So it's not, you depending on whether you're the customer or the service provider are going to take on different roles. And if I am the client and I'm paying money, I just want to make sure that you can help me and you can take care of me. I don't care how long you've been in business. Now, obviously, you should be able to do your job, but do I feel like, oh my goodness, I want to work with these people because they've been doing this for 20 plus years? Maybe in the beginning I might, but in the end, if they can't help me, I was like, I'll just tune out, right? And there are many facets to this. So I remember like when people talk to me and act like, "Hey man, you should work with me because of X, Y, Z." They don't even ask basic questions like, "Well, what do you want to do with your life?" or "What are your goals?" Right? Like, what is it you're trying to do? I notice, and I think this is like a modern society problem, that people just don't ask basic questions to the audience that they're speaking to. Like, what's your goal? Like, do you want to do fix and flip in real estate? Buy and hold? And then they just kind of have a script in their presentation. They just, regardless of what the audience member is saying, they just go on and on and on, and they're not even listening to the other person, right? Like, if someone says, "Hey, I want to do short-term rentals," talk a little bit about short-term rentals rather than fix and flip, right? But I've heard this in many presentations where like someone's talking and it's like, "Why'd you come to this real estate presentation or seminar?" Right? I want to learn about short-term rentals, and the other person just keeps going on and about something else because it wasn't in their original script, right? And another thing I notice is that people try to tell the other person what they are rather than just asking like, "What is your, what are you looking for? What do and people for whatever reason they tend to avoid directly asking you what you want. You ever notice that? Isn't that weird? Like I experienced this more than 10 years of my life, and I noticed that people just don't ask me what I want. They try to like get that information from my social media, which I don't have except for this YouTube channel, or just like, someone that I know, or just kind of make it up. Well, I thought you wanted this because you wear a green shirt. It's like, why don't you just ask me? Right? Why don't you just ask me? Right? And so there are many facets to this, and it's really fascinating how so few people out there just don't communicate in a manner where they act like they want to just help the other person. And if the other person feels that, they'll happily whip out their credit card. Heck, I know I will do that too, right? So it's not like I'm manipulating you. I just know as a normal human being that if and here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about society. The standard of care in society is so low. If you pretend that you care, you'll win the affection of hearts of many people, right? You actually will. It's funny. I was reading this article about doctors who get sued, and this is from a law firm, right? And I just want to read the first two sentences of this article. It says, "I've had occasion to give talks to healthcare providers about the patient plaintiff's perspective. In each, I've had healthcare providers ask for tips on how to not get sued. Okay, the stock answer I've developed is either actually listen to your patients or at least do a good job acting so they think you're listening, right? So this is the second part here is like, well, here's the thing. Either care or just pretend to care, right? Just pretend to care and you're probably not likely to get sued. Right? And that's kind of the whole point because like here's the thing. If people have studied medical malpractice for many years and people were actually, and if it is true that people are impressed by degrees or how long you've been studying, no doctor would get sued because they have the most education out of pretty much everybody on this earth, right? 4 years of college, 8 years of, medical school or residency. But why do doctors get sued? Because, a skill that they may or may not have that's independent of the education that they've obtained is more important than the education itself, with just being able to listen or pretending to listen, right? Even pretending to listen is such a valuable skill, and you make your customer feel like, hey, you actually care about me, even though you don't, right? And this is something. I don't want to say it's a basic skill, but it seems like nowadays a lot of people lack it, right? And here's another thing I want to talk about, right? Top salesman in the world. I don't know if you ever heard of Joe Girard. I'm pretty sure he passed away, but he was like the top auto salesman in the world for many years. I think more than 15, 20 years, right? Top auto salesman. And in his best year, he sold 1,425 cars, right? And was his secret weapon being the most knowledgeable about cars. Oh my goodness, I'm Joe Girard, the top salesman in the world. You know, you should buy a car from me because I've been in this game for so many years and I'm so experienced about cars. Well, according to this article, his secret weapon was greeting cards. Right? He employed two assistants. They wrote $13,000, 13,000 greeting cards a month, and that was his secret, right? And so Joe Girard, it says right here, proved without a doubt that greeting cards inspire customer loyalty. And the cards are kind of like, the secret weapon to making the customers feel like you care about them, right? Never wrote on those cards, I'm so knowledgeable about, cars and car parts. I'm pretty sure he was. But this guy knew that the secret to being the top salesman in the world was those greeting cards. And I remember when I first read this, like, well, this worked in the 1970s, but we have the internet now, right? That's what I was thinking. I was an effing idiot for thinking that, because it took me a long time to understand that the modern version of this is just making a YouTube video over and over again and just connecting with my audience. You'll notice that, and this is on purpose, that when I make YouTube videos, I just don't do like, oh, velocity banking, cash flow. I actually interject stories from time to time while I'm doing my presentations. So A, I don't get bored doing them, but B, so I could connect with you. And I hear that all the time, like, wow, I really connect with you, and I don't even know why. It's probably because I try to be a normal human being to you, right? Like I don't act like, oh my goodness, you should work with me because I'm so smart and I'm gonna do a humble brag here. I paid off my mortgage under 3 years, right? Like, I don't do that, or maybe I should just so that I can massage my ego for a little bit since I literally paid off my mortgage yesterday. Probably make another couple more videos on that before I get bored of it. But my point is that you don't connect with other people based on your accomplishments or how smart you are. It's just show them in whatever way you can, whether it's note cards or emails or YouTube videos that you're able to connect and care with them. And in the age of social media, it's kind of a little bit one sided. Although you could argue that note cards almost have the same effect, where your audience has developed this relationship with you, but you have no idea who they are, right? Again, parasocial relationships, so that phenomena has been well documented. But my point is that people don't connect with you based on how smart you are. They don't. Like, if I've done my job for 1 year or 20 years, as long as I can emit the emotion that I care, or according to this, at least pretend to care, people will buy, right? People are interested. People want to talk to you. They might not buy 100%. Some people might waste your time, but you'll get a lot more prospects by making offers and be able to connect with other people. And sometimes this is what I do. I kind of act like, I like to tell my stories and then act like Velocity Banking is just like excuse for us to be here to meet, even though, like, I kind of care about velocity banking, but I kind of don't. It's kind of similar to what I heard like a real estate instructor says. He's like, I felt it was like 40 grand a month from cash flow, and I don't even care about real estate at all. Like, what do I care about? Like, what goes in a house? I just care about what it does for me. Same thing when I do these YouTube videos. I like doing velocity banking to kind of initially attract people to these videos, but in the end, I really care about, just telling stories and hanging out and connecting with all of you, right? All right. Well, that's it for today. So again, summary of the video: your customers don't care about your accomplishments, right? They only care that you can help them. This is pretty much true with, especially my own personal life. That I've never cared at all that somebody has X years of experience, and this is true vice versa as well. All right, well, that's it for this video. Have a great day, and we will speak next time.